With the Allies firmly established along the coasts, it was time to bring in General de Gaulle, leader of the Provisional French Government. Charles de Gaulle had never liked being in need of help. And stepping onto French soil at Courcelles after 4 years of exile was no exception. The day before, Churchill, still distrustful of de Gaulle, had written to Montgomery, "I must inflict on you a visit from General de Gaulle. I do not think you should greet him on the beach. It would be sufficient for him to arrive at your headquarters." De Gaulle would only spend 1 day in France. For him too, time was pressing. Time to tell Montgomery what he wanted to hear, and the British Field Marshal even let him hog the limelight. Monty also gave Norman Johnson, his own cameraman, the task of following de Gaulle, possibly to keep an eye on him. Although used to working to his leader's whims, Johnson also thought de Gaulle was a good story. It was hard to follow him, he said, but luckily he was tall. He always had the same serious expression on his face, but he did create a good atmosphere. He always ignored the camera, or at least pretended to. In short, a star in the making. In Bayeux, people everywhere were delighted to finally see Frenchmen who weren't under the German yoke, a sign of renewed sovereignty. Especially as de Gaulle was intent on showing himself off with his own people and the men and women of the resistance, with no British or Americans present, before heading to the town hall where he installed his men without referring to the Allies. He denied them any say in France's political choices and forced them to recognize his own power in the country. A few days later, it was the turn of the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill to land. He wanted to check the state of operations ongoing in the Caen sector in person. But however much Montgomery played the good tour guide, he only dominated his car and not the plain of Caen, which was still under German army control. 10 days after taking the city, the British were yet to break through German lines, and Churchill's agitation wasn't about to change that. For Eisenhower, who had hoped for a breakthrough in this sector, it was a total failure, considering the huge means deployed.